This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration. This podcast is sponsored by Lever Consulting, editing with a purpose. Check them out at leverconsulting.com for a free consultation.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm V.
And you're listening to Cringe With Me, the podcast where we dig up the cringiest articles, questions, and tidbits of human culture to review with you, our listeners, so you too can cringe with me.
I'm hypocritical, but at least I know we could be beautiful or maybe terrible.
All right, guys, we're here to see who is going to win for the month of June.
Yes, finally, I have a chance. I've got 3 to your 2.
Yes, we'll see if any of your 3 beats my 2. All right, so the first one of last month was greed over cardboard, and that was the one where they were fighting over the money the kid would have got over baseball cards.
Yeah, the very selfish parents, which I find pretty cringy.
Yes, and dinner date almost in polygamy, which was my Ask Amy article, the 3 fiancés.
That one is the biggest red flag. I don't know if it's the cringiest, but it's definitely the biggest, like, what is going on here?
Oh my god, why?
Yeah.
Just, oh my god, why? And then your second one of the month was husband lies, mother-in-law stowaway.
See, that one I found pretty cringy. Just the clinginess of the mother-in-law there is...
And he's okay with it. He enjoys his mom.
He enabled it.
He wants it. Oh, he wants it bad.
Yeah, that one's cringy. It's funny because both those two involve lying, right? Like, yours with the fiancés, but this one involves lying in a way where it's like, I don't know, it just hurts. It's different. Yeah,
it hits different. And then after that one was my second and last one of the month, which was he wasn't using it anymore. Stolen baby name.
Okay, that one is pretty cringy though.
Yeah. The way OP tries to justify and didn't even give a justification.
Yeah, they try to justify it without justifying it, which is, it was pretty cringy. I'm not gonna lie. I if that one wins, I won't be too mad.
You won't be too mad?
No.
All right, well, you had one more, which is Grandma Knows Best.
Yes.
I had to sing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely provides the context for all the Tangled fans out there. Yeah, that one was fun, where grandmother is constantly undermining mom, and in essence dad too, by telling them that none of the rules apply while grandma's around.
Which, I mean, is it true is going to be the question for that one.
I really hope not. We had a good conversation about authority and undermining it in that episode, and I feel like...
we kept getting off... I feel like last month we kept getting off track.
I don't think we were off track. I think we're talking about the core subject that is inherent in the question at hand. I feel like that's what we always do.
I see.
That's our MO.
That's where you're sitting?
Yeah, we find a moral dilemma or cringy situation, and we talk about the ethics and the context of it.
Yeah, I see. So out of your 3, which one do you think would win?
I think it's my second one.
The husband lies, mother-in-law stowaway.
Yeah, I think to me that one was pretty cringy. Yeah. Just all of his behavior and the mother-in-law's behavior is just
incesty.
I wasn't going to go that far. I just found it very upsetting.
Incesty. Well, I mean, obviously my second one is the better one out of my 2.
Yes.
Because, my God. But we'll see. So I think it's down between either the stolen baby name or the husband lies.
Hey, we might be surprised. People, you get to vote for whatever one you thought was the cringiest. So please, I'm curious to see what everyone thinks.
It wasn't last month. I think it was like 2 months ago. My one that I thought was a bummer, like an episode that was questionable if we should have even put it out because I didn't think it was that cringy one.
I know.
So I shouldn't judge. Obviously, I don't understand the internet as well as I thought I did.
Well, we will see if we are surprised once again.
Okay. Well, it is on my episode If I can find where I put it. Here it is. It's a semi-short one, so I guess this whole episode is going to be a little short, but I mean, it's the month in review episode.
Yeah.
I feel like they're usually not throwaways, but there's other important things going on.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so this one is another Ask Amy article because I am predictable. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right.
What are we asking Amy today?
All right. I had no idea my husband wanted a divorce. What do I do now?
I think I saw this one, but I didn't read it, so I'm very excited that
Okay,
it's coming up
okay.
anyway.
All right, dear Amy. I recently returned from a week-long visit to help my 90-year-old father, whereupon my husband of 46 years sat me down and said that he had contacted a lawyer to file for divorce, rented an apartment, and wanted me to sell our brand new home.
Wow. That's a lot for a week. This was not a week in the making.
This was the first sentence.
That was one sentence.
That's all one sentence.
All right, take me deeper. Let's go.
Okay. He has always been a good, solid, loving partner. Up to this point.
Okay.
Your face.
Okay.
I was completely blindsided by this. He says that there's no affair, that he doesn't want to see if marriage counseling will work this out. Although he has been going to private therapy for the last year. I'm completely in shock. Where do I start emotionally? Legally? Thank you for your insight. From Morning in Montana.
Wow. So they've been married for 46 years?
46 years.
Which means they're likely in their 60s.
Yes,
Right.
especially like her father's in his 90s.
Yeah, so 60s.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Okay. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there, because that's not the kind of thing that typically happens overnight.
Okay, it sounds like he used this week-long quote-unquote vacation of hers to get his ducks in a row.
Yeah, possible. There's some interesting factors here, right? The fact that he's been in personal therapy for a year makes me think that maybe the therapy is unearthing things that have been bothering him for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and he's maybe not discussing with his wife. But to me, if something like this happens, that's a pretty good indication that you and your husband do not have good communication.
Yeah, they're on totally different pages. If he's ready for a divorce and she thought, my life is so great.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of this makes me think that this couple is demonstrating a lot of the qualities that I think are stereotypical of couples of this age, which is that they don't talk about things, right? They don't talk about their feelings. They don't talk about the problems in their relationship, right? If it's not a logistical issue that can be solved, it's just not discussed. Because if she thought everything was fine, but he's actually unhappy enough that he wants a divorce, to me, that says they're just not communicating, right? They're not talking about what's going on.
All right, here is Amy's response. Dear Morning, this is ... a truly terrible shock. And I am so sorry you're dealing with this. You seem to be stepping into a new demographic of elders who are experiencing what is now being called a quote-unquote gray divorce.
Gray divorce, okay.
Yeah. My main advice is for you to not make any financial moves. Certainly do not put your home up for sale until you seek an authority of your own. You will be represented with your own interest only if you get yourself your own lawyer, since he has already approached the situation with that level of intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be careful in the stages leading up to having your own lawyer. Develop your own game plan. This will help you tremendously, and help you also feel like you are more in control of your own life. Immediately after gathering your tax returns, retirement accounts, income statements, deeds, and any other financial records, make an extra set of copies. Your husband cannot force you to sell your house on his timetable. Do not agree to anything until you are certain it's right for you. Your husband has been deceiving you and has spent the last year strategizing and has put his plan firmly into place without giving you any benefit, any warning, or any time to make any plans of your own. This is both cowardly and brazen. Until your relationship stabilizes, either with you being a divorced set of individuals or a couple, I don't think it's wise to believe anything else he says, or possibly says. Think about his decisions and what could have led up to it. Realize that this is a highly charged and emotional time, but if you stay focused on this as a matter of business, you'll eventually gain some clarity and will feel a lot less blindsided. It would be a big help if you could confide in a savvy, straightforward friend or family member. You need somebody who will help you through this and not add to the drama. It sounds like you are being bombarded with emotions at this point in time. This is an extremely challenging and emotional time, a time of deep sadness, confusion, and anger. A compassionate therapist would be invaluable, as it is a difficult time in the world at large. You don't necessarily need something in person. Online support could be helpful as well. I would strongly, strongly advise you to seek out a lawyer first and foremost, and then follow with the earlier granted steps. Good luck.
Wow. I didn't expect her to come out so hard on the husband. That's very interesting.
Okay, well, I mean, could you imagine what she must be feeling?
Oh, I'm not saying that it's not more. I'm just saying I'm surprised, because my first instinct was not, this man is terrible. My first instinct was like, wow, you guys are not connected. Well, which is not one of their faults.
No.
Right?
But it is kind of messed up that he just threw this on her and didn't give her a chance to also plan. Because this man has a plan. He has a place to move into. He has a lawyer and everything set up. So what else is he planning?
Yeah, but that could have happened in a week.
It could have happened in a week, but...
Right? You know, like, you can get an apartment pretty quick. You can find a lawyer pretty quick. All these things could have been done in the week she was gone if he had come to this realization during that time. I'm not saying he wasn't planning. I'm just saying it wasn't necessarily that premeditated.
Okay, but obviously, as you're saying, this couple doesn't communicate, so she doesn't actually know who she's talking to.
Right.
In his heart and soul. So he might not still have her best interests in heart, and she could get financially screwed over for the rest of her life in a way that she'll never have the opportunity to recover from.
Oh, yeah.
If she doesn't protect herself.
Oh, no, I think the advice is all solid. I don't think any of the advice is bad. I think that it might have come off a little harsh, but I think the advice is all solid. To me, the interesting thing here is that, like, I don't know if the husband is cowardly. Why
didn't he want to do couples therapy then?
Maybe that's just not how they solve their problems. Like, we have no context, right? If they're at the point where they're getting a divorce and she had no idea he was even unhappy, they're so disconnected emotionally that if there's no standard set of communicating about these kinds of feelings, of course they wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Why would they? They don't talk about things.
But they could go to therapy and learn those tools.
Sure,
the fact that he isn't giving that as an option shows that how unwilling he is to even try.
Right, but being unwilling to try is not cowardly.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, it's
Trying and failing is very brave.
Knowing that something won't work isn't cowardly.
He goes to therapy. It's not like he doesn't believe in therapy.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is if he's going to therapy and he came to the conclusion that this relationship isn't going to make me happy, and I know that, I don't think that you don't need to try if you know that the thing won't work.
Yeah, but it's not even about trying to stay together. He doesn't even want counseling to that moment. He says there's no affair. She was completely blindsided. Here's the paperwork.
Sure. I'm just saying that when you have a friend who breaks up with a partner, even a partner of years, if they say, yeah, I just didn't want to be in this relationship anymore, this wasn't right for me, you don't tell them to go to couples therapy.
No, but you do tell them to talk to their partner, which he's unwilling to do.
Sure, but it's talking to them is one thing, but knowing that talking to them won't change your mind isn't necessarily wrong, and I don't think it's cowardly.
No, but you have to at least try. They've been married for 46 years. As far as she knew, they were happy together. The fact that he's never voiced anything otherwise and is just jumping onto a divorce and she doesn't know why is cowardly.
I just don't see it.
She doesn't have to stay with him after going to a couples counselor. The couples counselor can just be there to help her understand why he's unhappy.
Sure, that's fine.
She
but
deserves
maybe
that.
I don't think that that's necessarily true.
You don't think that she deserves to find out why her whole life is being taken away from her?
Her whole life isn't being taken away from her.
Oh, yes. She's been married for 46 years. They bought a house. They've been together basically her whole adult life. And then all of a sudden, her partner of 46 years, with no indication that they were upset or unhappy, or to see if the reason he's unhappy is something that can even be fixed or tweaked. No explanation at all. Here's a divorce.
Well,
I'm leaving you.
that thing is, I don't entirely trust that her narration is accurate.
She hardly gave any narration.
Right. To me, when she says, I had no idea this was happening, that doesn't mean he didn't give signs that he was unhappy. That doesn't mean he hasn't said things, right? She just doesn't believe that what was happening. But that doesn't mean it wasn't.
But
right?
there is...
He might have been trying to reach out. He might have been trying to communicate his unhappiness. I mean, if your husband starts going to therapy, there's a good sign that people typically start going to therapy when they are unhappy, right?
Well, I don't think that they should only go to therapy when they're unhappy.
I'm not saying they should. I'm saying they do.
Okay.
Right? People tend to start therapy when they're unhappy. So just him going to therapy is probably a sign that something is wrong, that he is unhappy with something. And maybe he wasn't communicating that. But also, maybe he was and she wasn't listening.
And how would she ever know that if they didn't try couples counseling? Obviously, there's miscommunication.
Sure.
And that needs to be fixed. And it won't be fixed if they keep going on like this. But also has no opportunity to be fixed if they don't at least go talk to somebody to do a mediation. The fact that he has a lawyer but didn't give her a chance to find a lawyer is incredibly cowardly.
He's giving her a chance to find a lawyer.
No, he found a lawyer, filed for divorce before she had the opportunity to find one. When you file for a divorce without having representation on both ends, it makes it more difficult for the person who gets the lawyer second to make sure that it's a fair filing.
Interesting.
Especially,
I didn't know the filing did anything. Like,
it
file
does.
for it, but then in mediation is when it's actually resolved.
Well, that's the in period statement. Because they are retired, filing affects their retirement fund.
Okay.
She could be cut out depending on how he files. She could have no access to their money depending on who was the breadwinner during their marriage. Considering how old they are, he could have just ripped away all of her money until this divorce is settled.
Okay, that's fair. I see that criticism. I'm just saying, I don't think that anyone owes anyone an explanation of why they're doing what they're doing.
This is where we're going to have to agree to disagree. When you are together in a committed relationship, especially one that is that long, if you are leaving, they deserve an explanation of why. At the bare minimum.
I think that explaining why is the right thing to do. I think he should be having conversation with her to be like, this is why I'm unhappy and this is why I'm leaving.
And he's not giving...
They might have that conversation. But I don't think he owes anyone anything. Because I don't think you have to explain yourself to do what's right for you.
I mean, he can still do it. But I do believe that he owes her something. And he's not giving her anything except a giant question. And I think that is cowardly. I agree with Amy here. And you don't have to. And it's fine that we have different opinions.
I just don't think it's cowardice. I think that, especially, like, we don't know enough about the situation to know that, like, maybe this relationship is abusive, right?
No, it could be.
Maybe she is cruel and uncaring and doesn't listen to him. And he's like, I've tried to tell you that I'm unhappy. I've tried to tell you these things. You're not listening. So I'm leaving because I don't have anything else to say to you.
Would an abusive person want to go to couples counseling and be outed as an abuser?
Well, someone who's in an abuser would definitely want to go to couples counseling if it means they might get a chance to keep the person they're abusing. I think people cling to their abusees.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a cling. But why is she the one looking for a solution?
Because she doesn't want to lose that thing.
I disagree.
A lot of abusers don't want the person they're abusing to leave them. and will fight that through any means necessary, including going to a therapist where they can lie and present the situation in their best light to try to convince the other person to gaslight them into staying.
Typically, abusers are angry at the situation. I'm reading this as an incredibly hurt woman who's being completely blindsided and set up for legal failure in a divorce.
Sure. But also, abusers will pretend to feel hurt to get sympathy on their side.
And bribe to a person, actually, in this case, much younger than them looking for help.
Absolutely. Because it paints a picture. It paints a picture that they are the victim.
Yeah, but who knows who this person is?
Right.
It's anonymous.
I'm saying we don't know. But I'm saying that I will not assume that this man is... that I'm not going to assume that he gave no explanation when we don't know that he didn't just give one and she wasn't listening.
See, and I'm going to assume that if he had an explanation and he cared enough, he would have taken her to counseling to explain it.
I've just been in relationships myself personally where I've been unhappy and I've tried to communicate that to someone and tried to tell them why I'm unhappy. And then when I finally am like, I'm ending this relationship, have them be shocked that I'm ending the relationship. Like, I've been in a situation where the person was shocked I was leaving after months of me telling them that I wasn't happy. And so to me, I'm like, I have to acknowledge that there's a possibility that he's been communicating and she wasn't listening.
See, and I've seen so many divorces where the person breaks it off like this, where they blindside it and set it up to where the other person has no chance of financially recovering.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Which is why I think counseling should always happen regardless of the situation, and why I truly believe that if you're leaving somebody, even if it's for something as minor as, hey, I don't love you anymore, which I'm not saying that it's minor, but like, it seems like a petty reason to leave a person. Even if it's something like that, it's like, hey, I just don't want to be with you anymore. That person, like, deserves to know and actually understand it. Oh my god, this was supposed to be a short episode.
Well, we got into it.
We got into it. And it's okay that we disagree on stuff. And still be friends.
Fine.
Just so people are aware in the comment section, you can disagree with people.
Yeah.
And we'll disagree more next week. We'll see you then. All right. Bye.
Goodbye. All right. Well, I'm Ryan, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Build, Write, Roll, where I post about my professional Dungeon Master experiences. You can check out the links in the description if you're interested in hiring a professional DM or looking to level up your own DM skills.
And you can find me, V, at Cringe Queen at Instagram and Twitter, or check me out on YouTube as the Queen of Cringe, and be embarrassed with me.
All right. Well, thanks for listening and cringing along with us.
And we'll catch you next time with more awesome cringe content.
I'm hypocritical, but at least I know we could be beautiful or maybe terrible. Only one way to know. Only one way to know.
Hello, I am Patrick,
And I'm Andrew. And I'm Christian.
And I'm Allie.
and we are Rad Theater, a podcast where a bunch of friends play role-playing games and share a single brain cell, and the GM doesn't always have it. Oh, and it's theater spelled the correct way, Theatre.